Can I just say that 2020 has been a challenging gardening year, especially here in Colorado. We've had heat, we've had cold, we've had hail, we've had wind out the yin yang. So my plants are all stunted, but they're still growing. So I had a bunch of beans off those 3 plants that are still growing, hopefully, and they couldn't wait any longer, so I decided to pick them. I tell you right now, green beans canned are my favorite thing out of any garden, any time of the year. They last, and when you can a green bean, they take on a different flavor when you home can them, I should say. So all I'm doing here is picking off the ends and pulling the strings out at the sides. That's why they're called string beans, right? These are my Kentucky Wonders. They've never failed me. And just when I thought they were going to fail me for the first time, booyah, here they go. So I got them all broken up, all the strings and ends removed. I've already washed them, so now we're going to can them. These jars have 1 quart and 2 pints. And what I did was I sterilized them in the dishwasher. No muss, no fuss. So they're still piping hot because we're going to add boiling water to them later, so you don't want to use a cold jar for sure. So I'm going to use this little funnel just to get them all in there. And the thing about green beans, they have to be pressure canned. You cannot hot water bath them. They're a low acid food. The only thing you're going to add is boiling water and some salt. But you want to pack them in just as tight as you can get them. Keep adding them in and shoving them down as hard as you can, as long as you leave 1 inch of headspace. Which, as long as you're below the threads of where the lid screws on, you're good to go. So quarts, they get a full teaspoon of kosher salt or canning salt. I'm trying to show you with my bad camera angle that I left 1 inch of headspace, but just trust me, I did. Anything above the threads or the threads of the lid is no good. So we're going to add our salt. And then we're going to move on to the other jars and get them filled up. And I had enough for a packed quart and a packed pint. And the other one, well, I kind of ran out of beans, but it's still a loosely packed pint. So I'm going to add the 1/2 teaspoon of salt to the pint jars. Now we're going to add the hot boiling water out of the tea kettle that I had whistling away on the stove. And again, don't forget your headspace. But prior to that, once we get these jars filled with water to the headspace, we're going to take a non-metallic object like a wooden spoon, or in this case, I'm going to use a plastic handle of a spatula. Just not metallic. Metallic is bad. And all I'm going to do is get the air bubbles out. Air bubbles trap bacteria, so we don't want them anywhere in our jars, because these jars are going to last us for 2-3 years easy. And then I'm just going to mash them back down in. Now what I do is I go down the side and then I press forward towards the middle. And that you can't really see it on camera, but I'm releasing a lot of air bubbles. And you know you successfully released air bubbles when the water level goes down. So you just filled those voids that had air with water. So I'm going to top it off until the water level is at the very bottom of the threads for the lid. And then we're going to get to canning. Pressure canning is not hard to do at all. It just takes a little bit of time, and there's just a few steps. You can see all I've done is added salt and water. I'm taking the vinegar on a paper towel and I'm wiping off the rims. Why? We had no sauce. Well, because when I added the salt, maybe some of it bounced up and got on the edge of the jar, and that will prevent the lid from sealing properly. And like I said, these beans will last 2 to 3 years, if not longer, and they'll still be good, provided you have a good seal. So let's put these lids on here, and remember, only finger tight. If you go real tight with the torque there, it's going to buckle the lid and prevent a good seal. So just do it finger tight. So we're going to put them in our pressure canner, give it a wee twist, get it going. So it's boiling away. I don't know if you could see that, but that was the vent. You want to let it vent for 10 minutes straight before you put the weight on. And that little lever popped up, the silver level. There's the weight, and I have it at 10 pounds of pressure. And I'm going to can it for 25 minutes. It's only 20 per pint or 25 per quart, but because I have a quart, I'm going to do 25. It won't hurt the pints at all. So it's been 25 minutes. I'm going to let everything cool down. I turn the heat off, and as you can see, my little lever stopped down. I take the weight off. We're at 0 poundage pressure. It's super important. Never take anything off until then. So I raise that lid away from me so the steam doesn't burn your face clean off your head. And I'm going to take my tongs and I'm going to take out these jars. And if you look closely, you can see they're still boiling. Ugh. I just love me some green beans. Y'all really should try this. Canning green beans, eat what you grow, can what you grow, save it for later. Be prepared. Who knows what's going to happen if we have another outbreak. You don't want that to happen, but look at this. Bless my heart. Those are some pretty jars. I hope you try it. Have a good one.